What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the Verdependent podcast, where we depend on the Verde and Black for our everyday vibes. This episode is brought to you by AC Memento. AC Memento, your digital sports and concert scrapbook. Download Memento today by following the link in the show notes or on any of our social profile bios. This week, we discuss Austin's offensive potential, highlight Austin's 2026 secondary kit, and give our season's predictions before closing out the episode, as always, with a stoppage time rundown of the hottest Austin FC, MLS, and World Footy storylines of the past week. I'm Logan Bartlett.
What's up, everyone? This is Paul Fletes.
And I did indeed nail it. And let's get into some preheated takes. Paul, start us off. What is your second to last penultimate preheated take before the regular season starts?
Yes, sir. The preseason takes. I think we're going to close it out with ending this final preseason game with a bang. And I have Austin FC winning their final preseason game against SKC by 2 or more goals.
I love it. It fits in line with what we were talking about last week, right? The kind of progression of the final week of preseason. I think you're staying consistent, and I appreciate
all
that.
10 toes have been stood on for business.
Yes, indeed. And then clenched to really hold you firm to the ground.
Yeah.
For me, I'm looking a little bit further. The start of the season, I'm ready for it. So I'm going to start throwing out takes now. I think Austin will tally 10 points by the end of March. So that's 5 games into the season. We're averaging 2 points a game. And I think we'll look good at 10 points or more. So
I like it. Didn't we?
We're a little hopeful.
I think we hit that last season, didn't we? Like, I'm pretty sure.
So. And so it's kind of an expectation of we stay consistent and get better,
I love it.
So I like it. We keep it moving. And so I mentioned, this idea of the offensive potential. And while that is kind of a theme for this first half, we more so want to look at the preseason by and large, right? 2 days. Mm-hmm. So 5 games into the preseason, Austin boasts just 1 win. I believe it was our very first game versus USL side Louisville City. Or was it the second? Can't remember. One of our first games.
Yeah.
5 games, 1 win, not a lot of goals. How does this sit with you so far?
I'll be honest, man. It doesn't feel super good, but I think I'm also trying to temper that, right? Regular listeners of the podcast will understand that I've been trying to chill out on the expectations this preseason and just kind of let the black box that is preseason form and training be what it is. But yeah, I think if I had to answer honestly, you pulled me on the side of the street and asked me this, I'll be like, nah, this doesn't feel good. Because there's teams like Chicago Fire that are undefeated up until we played them last Wednesday in preseason. And granted, I mean, it's not the end all be all, but it does feel nice when your team can, beat the other team at the end of the game. And we're not there yet, but
right. We've said this, I think, the last 2 episodes, but preseason doesn't really matter, but it feels really good to win.
Yep.
Even the preseason, when other teams are winning. And they have good vibes among the fan base. They're thinking, oh, hey, the team's looking pretty good so far, and it's not even the regular season yet. Like, we're hopeful. For us, it's kind of like I haven't seen a cohesive performance yet, a like full end-to-end performance defensively and offensively. We scored a couple goals last game, but we let in 2 more. We haven't seen it all put together yet, so it's something that maybe other fan bases are getting a peek at while we're kind of like, hey, maybe it comes together. So,
and to also piggyback off that, I mean, just talking about the cohesion in terms of the rosters that we're seeing put out there, right? Like, we don't have our starting 11 caliber, like all the way through from the top at full fitness to really start these games. And so, I think we're all just kind of clutching and hanging on to see how it's going to be the next couple of months. But we'll be all right.
Notably, it took until preseason match 4 for Uzuni and Torres to make an appearance. Or I guess maybe it's that 5. Yeah, the last game. So preseason match 5. Apologies. To make an appearance. Up to that point, 23-year-old Jaden Nelson and fullback turned winger Joseph Rosales have been responsible for the majority of chance creation for Austin. How long into the 2026 season should we expect to see growing pains while Austin's new formed offense finds its rhythm?
I think the quick answer to that is however long it takes for BV9 to get comfortable scoring for Austin is how long we should, feel these growing pains for, because we're going to see a lot of iteration on Austin's attack between now and then.
Yes.
So I am bracing myself for, a long journey, but the end will be fruitful and divine, and
Yeah.
we'll go from
Yeah,
there.
I like that. I like the pieces we have, man. I really do.
Yeah.
If we could get one more, false nine striker slash attacking midfielder,
Mm,
looking at Diego Rubio 2 years ago, that style of player that can play
sure.
both efficiently, um, I would feel even better. But I like the winger depth we have. I like Owen Wolf's versatility. We'll get to this in a minute, but Facundo Torres, he's showing some versatility already. Just one game in terms of
Yep.
where he's projected to be slotted. Obviously, Uzuni has played all across the front line for us so far. So I like the versatility. I like the pieces. And when BV9 comes back, I'll feel even better. I
Mm-hmm.
like this idea that Dessler and Bito and Gallagher can join the attack as well and be, contributors in in that side of the field as well as
For
on
sure.
defense. So I feel good about the pieces. I just don't, I can't really get a mark on the timeline yet. Like, when is it all going to become clear and crisp and pristine, and we start seeing it all be fruitful
Right.
on the field?
At a
Um,
minimum, we understand that Brandon's expected timeline back on the pitch is that April 4th game against Miami away
mhm.
to open up Chase Freedom Stadium or whatever.
Yeah, which is a good feeling, right? Because that's match day 6. You
Yep.
know, if predictions stay true, Torres is doing well. We were on 10 plus points at that point, right? The
Mm-hmm.
team is gelling, whether it be explosive offensive performances or not. Maybe we lean on our team defense capabilities, right? So
Sure.
yeah, I think that's very promising, and maybe faster than people expected. It's good to see him in the training photos too, in the videos, right? Like
Absolutely.
he's out with the team. He's in full gear. He's practicing in some capacity, so it feels good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, two goals were scored in our midweek draw versus Chicago, with Uzuni lined up at striker and Facundo Torres slotted in as an attacking midfielder, according to our friends at the North End podcast who had a little bit of a coverage there.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Taylor scored the first preseason goal by a first-team player for Austin, while starting on the left, and Jaden Nelson scored the second on the counter. Is this what Verde fans should hope to expect once things gel for this offense?
I think the short answer here, yes. And before I move on any further, I do want to give a quick shout out to our friends over at the North End Podcast for being able to give us some kind of coverage for Austin fans for that match against Chicago.
Yeah.
And so shout out the boys there for all the work that they're doing.
Yep.
But yeah, I think for these two sequences, from my understanding, is at least where Robert Taylor was floating in kind of from that half space in towards the middle of the top of the box. There was that reflected shot off of one of the Chicago defenders. Can't remember the name, but to see him taking shots is a plus. I don't know what the final counter was on that, but I think just based off of the score line, I wouldn't be mad if it hit our 6-goal or our 6-shot mark that I set for us last episode.
Yeah.
And then that second one, I think, was a beautifully worked counter, kind of in that, again, towards the middle of play there, where Bassard kind of plays a cheeky pass to on running Jaden Nelson, who just slots that past keeper. And I don't know, man. I think that's a good thing to hope for, that we can consistently kind of operate in that space and tuck them away, because as many folks will remember, we're very reliant on those outside channels and just praying crosses into the box. So to see the team kind of come up with this performance, especially against a very strong side like Chicago, feels good.
It does, right? You see on both goals, wingers getting into the middle of the field in different manners, right? Running behind, darting from wide to central, and getting that shot on goal from a strong position is something we've seen here and there with this team for the last couple of years. But it's good to see that be like an intentional strategy, right? Because we do have the speed for it. And the guys that can make those passes. What I was really excited about in that build up to the Robert Taylor goal is it kind of gave shades of, and I don't want to get too hyperbolic here, but shades of opening day 2022 when we're seeing Ring, Driussi, Fagundes, like tiki-taka in the box around each other. right? I
Sure.
had that same kind of thing of, pass from outside to in, the winger inverts, runs to the central, they pass it again, pass it back, and use that player as a way to kind of get through the middle of the field and end up with a shot. And it's refreshing to see that, where guys can, like Uzuni and Torres and those types of players, can draw players with them, and people can play off of them in open space to create opportunities in the middle of the park where the ball isn't. It's moving quick. It's moving around the defense and not just to the wing and through the air to nobody in the box. So hopefully we see more of that, because that's exciting. We have the players to do that kind of play successfully. Yeah. In Taylor, in Owen Wolf, in Uzuni, in Torres, right? BV9, all these guys that can play in those tight quarters. So I hope we continue to see that. Please.
I heard so many good words there, and all I ended up actually coming away with is that we're just gonna go back to 2022 opening season, 10 goals in 2 games with a mint kit.
Hey,
I'm here for it, man.
Why
So I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Well, let's save this conversation, right? There's another preseason game, and then the season starts. So I don't want to get too, both in the weeds and pie in the sky here. Let's keep it moving. We have some official news to talk about. We've pondered on this a couple of times the last couple of weeks. Austin FC officially dropped the Rooted kit, the club's 26-27 away kit. We've talked about the idea of it and how it played in the media and in the leaks, right? Mm-hmm. What are your initial thoughts seeing this IRL or through the club's lens, through the club's eyes?
For sure. Yeah, I think haven't yet seen it IRL, but I think, from the official photographs that we've seen, like both through the club, through Adidas, particularly at first as just the kit itself, no bottoms seen. I just found it to be, it's a clean kit, the white and the mint stripe. I don't mind it. I think I personally would place it above the Sentimiento just because there's a little bit more to look at there in terms of the vertical. Oh my God, I said verticality. LOL.
Verticality. Hey, that too. The vertical stripes though, right?
Yeah, and I'm still not used to the contrast that the black stripe is providing there, but we'll grow to love it, especially as the players' names and numbers are put on the back and all that stuff. But when I saw it with the shorts, I think that's when I further kind of turned my head and like kind of scratched my chin a little bit, because I was like, it just doesn't seem like something that we've seen yet. Obviously that's the point. It's a new kit, but the white with the mint and just that dark contrast with the black, it's not sitting well with me for the time being.
I agree 100%. I think so let me say this first, right? The club, as always, the marketing and communications team, they nailed it, right?
Never miss.
The video, the 2-minute video with the quartet or whatever, the string quartet or quintet or whatever it was, and the vibrant scenery of Zilker and Town Lake and Waller Creek and all that space, right? Like that was amazing. I think that team's going to keep cooking. I just wish the ingredients that they were cooking with were equally as exciting and vibrant and worthy, right? Because by no means I don't dislike the kit, right? It's not my favorite. I think once we kind of got down to the details and saw the club was highlighting like the vertical stripes, I like the consistency there. I think this is the first time we've seen vertical stripes in an away kit, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Because we had the t-shirt, we had the collar kit with the green stripes year one. T-shirt as
Las Voces kit, you could technically say had the barcode kit.
Yeah, that was a home kit though.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah,
good call.
First away kit. First non-primary, right? So I like that aspect of it. As always, the club's going to make the kit look great. I really liked how they pulled in kind of community folks from the community and different arts and laborers and et cetera, and highlighting them in the kit. I love all that stuff. I love my city. I love the club, right? So that time to the community seems genuine, intentional. That's all great. Especially when I saw the bottoms, dude, I was like, what's the vision here? Like,
right. Yeah.
3 just blindingly stark black stripes on the sides of the shorts. They're white with the fringe of that teal, the mint color around the bottom of the pant leg or the short leg. I didn't like the shorts at all.
Yeah.
And then the club, or maybe it was Adidas or Bleacher Report, posted a
ranking.
photoshopped. Oh, they posted a ranking. We'll get to that.
Oh,
They
okay.
posted a photoshopped picture of Brandon Vasquez in Q2 in the kit. And if you remember, right, we talked about this a few weeks back. Like, I'm gonna hate on it. I'm gonna hate on it until I see BV9 in the kit at Q2, and then I'm gonna be like, yeah, it's one of the best kits I've ever seen in my life. So they did that, and I immediately was all in. I'm like, yeah, this looks fucking amazing. Brandon Vasquez is that guy. Even got like, it looked great. So I'm curious to see it on the players. I can hate all I want on the pictures and whatnot. The club did a great job marketing as always.
Sure.
I love the message behind it, but I just wish it was, I don't know, something a little better.
I feel that. I think to end on a positive, I would say I'm excited to wear this kit in the summer for sure, right? Because that light colored is going to be great in the sun and in the heat, reflecting well. And then also, but I guess maybe not end on a positive, but I just wish the marketing for this was not so nature themed, because I'm looking at you wearing the Dillo kit right now, Lobar, and I see the earth tone, right? I see that kind of Dillo tan with, that lighter green, and that to me green feels a little bit more organic, or a little bit more nature centered, which is what I would associate with Austin, right? This new rooted kit for me, it's something out of, the hospital, quite frankly. It's again, sterile, it's very clean. But I don't put that on and go like, yeah, I'm going to go on the green belt, that's just my thing. So I wish they kind of saved that theme for
that's a great way to kind of summarize what I was trying to get at in terms of the vibe of like, the marketing is great around it, but I think the product doesn't necessarily match what they were pushing out, right? It's the idea that this minty-ish turquoisey blue is like the blue of the waters of Barton Springs. I'm like, brother, I've been in Barton Springs my entire life. Even if that's the color of the water, no one knows that, because the reflections of the trees, the depth of it, it's a very dark blue, right? When you're at Barton Springs. It does not look like
aquamarine.
So like, okay, whatever. Like Brandon Vasquez wore it, looked fire, awesome.
Yeah.
Looking
I will
elsewhere,
say, man, I'm glad that you and I both work out, and we take care of our bodies.
Yes.
No matter, it doesn't matter what we put on our tops, man. It's gonna look fire. So
yes, sir. Talk that shit.
We're here.
In addition to the new away kit, right? Austin has a new training top that is a solid green with white accents, a quarter zip, a full collar. Is it crazy to say the training top outshines the rooted kit?
I don't think it's crazy, man. I don't think it's crazy. And I do have to say a quick shout out to my 93 Sidekicks Paisel team from Select, bro. We remember this dark green and white colorway on those Climacool uniforms, bro. That was the shit. And so when I saw this picture on Instagram of the new training tops, I was like, this is absolute cinema. This is perfect. So I was, if it's crazy, then I'm crazy, but I do think it took the stage over the new kit.
I think so too, bro. I thought it was I don't know what kind of sway Adidas has over the kits, right? But I thought this was a creative choice, right? I don't like the horn thing out of the armpit, underarm area, the kind of the horn shape of the white and the green. It very much reminded me of the Dillo kit, kind of in that same vein. Sure. Obviously different, but I liked it a lot, and I'm almost like, I might just buy that instead of the new kit, save $65, and
I'm with you, dog.
Wear what I think looks cooler. I love the quarter zip. I love the collar. I think it looks fire. The team look great in it. So,
are you a fan of the holes in the thumb area on the long sleeves?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Okay. I'm just checking, because that's definitely the vibe on those training kits.
For sure.
I'm always a fan, but
yeah, me too. I like it.
Yeah. All right. Just checking.
Yeah, you get that kind of like extra leverage to keep the sleeves down, and like that's kind of fun. It's nice.
Hell yeah, dude.
Per ESPN, Austin's new kit ranked at 14th out of 30 on a list of the best new MLS kits. Obviously, every year each team gets a new kit, whether it be home or away. So all 30 teams have new kits. From this list, which others stood out to you?
Without looking at the list itself, I'll start with the negative first, and we absolutely just have to all point and laugh at Houston Dynamo for throwing a GPS, overlay Yeah, overlay on top of the orange and purple, which they so adhere to and cling to, which is it's just tough to
Yeah.
see that, and
It
you're
was
like,
ranked
oh
30th
yeah,
for those who haven't,
yeah.
like, very obviously.
And then another one to point at and laugh is probably Miami,
Yeah.
because that all black with the I mean, it just looks like someone's going to chase and to go work, put in a shift.
Yeah.
But
For real.
some fun ones that I actually really enjoy. I liked Revolution, New England Revolution's
Yeah, I
kit.
thought that was
That
cool.
kind of bang kit was actually really well done.
Yep.
LAFC, they are so lucky that they get that color palette of black and
the
gold,
staff.
because
Oh, yeah.
that
Sorry. Yes.
that deco universe is there for them to just always play around with.
Yep.
And
I really liked I'm blanking on which one it is, and I can see the Atlanta United one, the Olympic one,
yes,
the
the
cream
Olympic.
color with the like kind of scaly, darkish green kind of color, greenish blue color,
Yeah.
and the gold, for the Olympic medal kind of vibe. I thought it looked good. They didn't the rankers didn't like it too much. They ranked it in the bottom 10.
Yeah.
But I thought it looked clean. I like that kind of vertical sash kind of vibe over the crest.
Who got first?
New England, the refs.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah, because I think it's an homage to their 1996 kit, if I'm not mistaken.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It also just looks fire.
Yeah. Oh, and dare I say that I actually don't mind Dallas's kit this year, their primary. It's very it's a clean, it's well done, but like obviously with their color, red and blue, it's just it's a nice simple tribute
I think the little
to
white accent lines
their hoop.
flanking the blue boxes or blue stripes are really nice. It added a good depth to it, and they had that cool kind of like horizontal kind of depth 3D looking pattern across the red that just makes it pop a little bit. It looked good. It looked good.
And then SKC, I think, gets the most out there award, I think, in terms of what they have had in the past with their hoops.
Yep.
And then they went with this like weird geometric kind of like two columns going down their side. Very interesting. But
the last one I wanted to point out, I don't really have a take on this. I think it looks kind of cool with like the lightning color. I understand that or lightning design. It's the other rooted kit. New York Red Bulls had their own rooted kit. Obviously, I'm assuming this is supposed to be like tree roots, but it just looks like red lightning on a black background, which is pretty cool either way. But it was funny to see the Austin FC Twitter or whatever repost and like, be like, hey, you copied our homework kind of vibe or whatever.
Bar for bar, bro.
Yeah, bar for bar. And you got to think, like, was there not a coordination, or did Adidas say, yeah, it's cool, or MLS say, yeah, it's whatever. Both y'all put the rooted kit out, it'll be funny. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, free fodder for the marketing teams to like have some fun with.
Exactly. Right. But it's also funny to think of New York and trees. Obviously, there's a lot of trees in New York. I know that, but it's also
I don't think of trees
made
first thing. Like when I think New York, I don't think of trees.
No,
that's how ignorant I am.
Yeah,
everyone's bashing me with the Central Park.
Exactly.
But it's okay.
Anyway. A lot of good kits this year, a lot of bad ones too. Excited to see them face off against each other for 34 games. So let's take a quick break, and we'll get back to kind of like a season statistical prediction vibe and save like a deep dive for next week. So BRB. And we're back. It's that time of year where we get very general and discuss our predictions for Austin FC's upcoming season. 2026 marks our second consecutive season with a core of 3 DPs worth over $30 million, though the pieces look a bit different and are not all ready for action. Get well soon, our sweet prince BV9. Austin is on the heels of their best defensive season in club history, and the core group are all back of that defense. Paul, will consistency of the core group who made the playoffs and again had our best defense ever propel us to even loftier heights in 2026? Now, let's just point out real quick, we made the Open Cup final. We made it to the playoffs. Didn't win a game, but we made it to the playoffs, right? And we just looked generally more consistent across the season. Take us from there. What do you think 2026 looks like?
Yeah, I think if that's the level, bro, I think this core group plus the new additions that we've made see us increase that level ever so slightly, um, but an increase nonetheless, right?
Right.
Progress is still progress. And so, yeah, I think the bigger gains are going to be made with looking at the Open Cup specifically,
Hmm.
where we started off with a little bit of a stumble and a hiccup, right? With
Yes.
you
El
know
Paso.
USL side, El Paso putting two on us at halftime or before halftime, and then we had to turn around and do the BV9
Yeah. Masterclass.
masterclass, and then the same thing in San Jose, right? It's just like I think we get ourselves in less of those situations this
Hmm.
year's Open Cup run, because that core will help kind of guide the rest of the team along and in saying like, hey, we're not putting ourselves in that situation anymore. Like
Yeah.
we're going to play to make sure that we stay on top. So at a minimum, that's what I'm looking at. But
Yeah.
also, I think to get a win in playoffs, bro, let's fucking get it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, and to that point, right? Like Austin will be vying for a playoff spot again in a crowded Western Conference, and they'll have to manage both the Open Cup and Leagues Cup this year, right? We're doing
Mm-hmm.
both. So, what are your expectations for the season? Right? You mentioned is a playoff win or bust? Is it trophy or bust? And we have three chances to get that trophy. What is it? What is the ceiling or the ceiling of expectation for the club this year?
I like the playoff win or bust route here because as much as I just got done saying that our Open Cup run is going to be a lot less frenetic,
Hmm.
um, something tells me that maybe, just maybe, we haven't quite figured out everything by the time that it takes this team to be on for
Yeah.
any silverware. I think we might be a season too early for that from just what I'm seeing right now this off season. But I think to set myself up to not be super disappointed, I think it's going to be making a playoff line and getting a win at some
Yeah.
point in that postseason run.
Yeah. I think that's where I stand too. With this core group, the DPs, hopefully Owen Wolf, if he gets sold for a lot of money and advances his career, that's okay too. But you look at guys like Owen Wolf and Danny Pereira. You
Sure.
look at the defense, Dessler, Vatak, these BHI, right? They're all approaching
Mm-hmm.
30 and or are 30. I think we've set a window that we're competing within, right, as a club.
True.
And so I'd like to see incremental progress this season where we are getting that playoff win. Maybe we are advancing more smoothly in Open Cup and like challenging even more competitively in a final for that.
Yeah.
Um, if we win a trophy, hell yeah, I would say we're ahead of schedule a little bit.
Yep.
But if we're competitive, we make deep runs and we're a viable opponent throughout all these
Mm-hmm.
competitions, playoffs included, I feel really good. And then, looking at 27, 28, that's when it's trophy or bust for me.
Absolutely.
It's like, hey, this core, are we going to do it? Are we going to spend 30 plus million, 40 million, et cetera, on players and
Mm-hmm.
win something? Or are we just going to be, above average, a little bit better than mediocre and continue to struggle? So
I like it.
incremental progress, I'm okay with. I'm expecting almost.
And because I think a good team to kind of use as a barometer there would be the past 3 seasons of Vancouver Whitecaps,
Yeah.
as a team that was consistently in the playoff races and really started to peak, especially last season as they were going through CONCACAF,
Mm-hmm.
through Leagues Cup and all that jazz. It's just and they didn't have the most prolific, or wallet busting signings ever. They just had, a good solid core squad that was
Yeah.
helping, make that incremental progress happen. So hell yeah, I'm here for that. Let's
Yeah.
ride.
Well, let's get into some fun stuff now. Like I said, we'll talk more in depth on what the season by and large looks like as MLS media and local media and folks start putting out their season predictions and playoff predictions and all these things. We can
Yeah.
break into that a little bit more. But I want to talk about, the very pie in the sky hypothetical, what we think will be the Verdependent end of season awards predictions. So I'm just going to run through this. We got 6, kind of like stat winner, award winner things, and we're going to give our takes and keep moving. So let's start first with the obvious, the Golden Boot for Austin FC, the top goal scorer for 2026. Who will earn that title by season
I'm putting
end?
my hands up like an eagle because everyone knows that this is Murto's Uni's goal celly here, and
Yep.
he's who I have as this year's Golden Boot for Austin FC.
I love it. I think if he stays healthy and stays determined, it's the season for him. You know, he wants to be here. There was that, you know, tumultuous moment, I guess you could call it, a couple of weeks ago, where we're like, oh, is he going to be sold or what's happening? Is he gone? But you know, he's back. He said a little note again on the North End's Instagram, being like, "Hey, I'm here. We're all here. We're ready to win. Like we're ready for the season." So I think that's a fair shout. I'm going to go a little out of left field. I think you're probably right, and I would not be surprised if Uzuni is the top goal scorer, just because he'll be available for all games, barring injury.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the underdog, the guy coming back from the leg shattering injury, and say Brandon Vasquez. He only misses 5 games. He'll come off the bench a little bit here and there, but yeah, I think the Superman himself will carry us and be a double-digit goal scorer and really do it dominantly for this club across competitions this year. So I think BV9 has his comeback season, and I think Uzuni's going to look equally as great with his own comeback season. But I think BV9 does what he got signed to do. Top assist man. There's some options here. Who are you looking at?
I think I'm going to go with our big DP signing of the offseason, Facundo Torres. I think he was brought in to generate that kind of chance creation for us on the wing, and I think he will also be high up on the goal scoring list, but I think more than anything, he's going to tally up those assists for whoever's up front.
Yeah, I think that's an easy choice. I'm going to go kind of a 1A, 1B here. Torres, a great shout. We'll probably get it. I think Owen Wolf will continue to get better and have another season. I almost expect Torres to be scoring too many goals, right? Or be asked to be more of a in the box threat receiving on the receiving end of balls in the box. And so I think Owen Wolf will end up equally carrying that chance of creation off the wing, or even through the middle, right? Balls over the top, through balls through the middle of the park. So I'm going to go Owen Wolf just to be a contrarian here, but I think Torres is a great shout.
I like it.
Thank you. I like it too. DPOY. That's not Brad Stuber. Tell me, who do you think?
I think last season, I'm pretty sure I mentioned Alexander Svatak here for this one, and I'm very, very much interested in doing that a second season in a row. So fuck it. We ball. Number 5, the Ukrainian unit, Svatak.
Yep. I'm with you on that. I don't care what the advanced metrics said last year. I don't care what all that BS says, bro. Svatak came in. We had the best defensive season in our history. He runs it back. He gets more efficient in those little tiny metric things that kind of sort of matter sometimes. I'm with you on that. I think he's going to earn DPOY. One, for health, but also consistency. Our fullbacks play so high anyway, so often that, like Dessler, I think could be a good shout. But it's a mix of health and the fact that he'll be attacking more. I think where Svatak will really be tasked with leading this back line consistently. So
for sure.
Breakout player, right? Last year there were some options. I think we landed on Owen Wolf. Who are we looking at this season to be a breakout player? And I'll prefix this by saying, like, for Austin, maybe not in their career, but breakout player for Austin who, does more than is expected.
For sure. I've got a little bit of a 1A, 1B situation for this category specifically. My 1A is actually going to be Nico Dubersarski for that central defensive midfield role. I think that he's going to get called upon a lot more this season. So we're going to get an opportunity to really see him contribute in ways that we just haven't in the time that he's been here. And I'm very much looking forward to that, just purely off of the small sample size of that game against NYCFC and the hearsay from the game against Fire. And so that's my 1A. My 1B is our winger fullback slash winger, Joseph Rosales. I have a feeling that something in this squad, in this formation, is going to allow him to just absolutely be a very central player for us. Not positionally, I should say, but like key. in terms of like what he offers in attack, what he offers tracking back on defense, and just being a bugger to MLS opposition.
Yep.
So I see that.
I like it. I think I'm going to go with Robert Taylor, and I think Robert Taylor is going to get more opportunity, and not get it, but earn more opportunity, even in this kind of congested attack.
Yeah.
We're going to want to see Jaden Nelson as the young, prolific national team level player. Obviously, we're going to see Uzuni and Torres out on the wing here and there. But with kind of like I said, that flexibility of Uzuni can play on the left. He can also play striker and kind of in a central role. Torres is lining up in the middle so far and through one game, small sample size, but nonetheless, I think Taylor is going to really make the most of his minutes across competitions more so, and be that breakout guy that, maybe most people are looking at 3 to 5 goal contributions. And I think he might end up more in like the 5 to 7, 7 to 10 range for us across competition. So, most improved, again, this can be in their Austin FC career or just, career wise, most improved. Who do you think earns this one?
So I'm torn because I'm looking at a player who's been on our books since the beginning, in John Kolmanich here, who I think, looking over the seasons, we've come to know him as the most reliant left footer on the squad. But I think there is a little bit of a ceiling that he's got right now that it feels like what he's able to offer is very one-dimensional. But I really want him to show that he can do a little bit more. I think that he can defend 1v1 a little bit more not intentional, but just efficiently, while still elevating our chance creation from the left, right, and whipping in those crosses.
Yep.
Because we've all seen it happen. The dead 80th minute of the game, and he comes in and does the thing. But I think from also just a general, like, the numbers were bad, and then this year's numbers are going to be good. I think I'm going to have to say Mirto Uzuni is going to be Austin FC's most improved player, just in terms of clear chance finishing and output, man. It's going to be there.
Oh, I like that. I think that's a fair shout. For me, I'm going to go more so on how they look on the field and how they contribute on the field, less so statistically. I'm looking at Basard Savovic. And I say that because I think he and Nico Dubasarski equally have a chance here to break into the starting lineup, or at least like equally share minutes across these competitions. Elias Sanchez is back for Austin, right? But he more and more, in my opinion, should be a bench locker room kind of guy, where he gets good minutes where needed, right? And where it's helpful and useful. But really making room for Savovic, Dubasarski, and of course the youngins and Owen Wolf and Danny Pereira, which he's not much of a youngin anymore, but you know what I mean.
They're men now. Let's get it.
Yeah. So fair enough. So I think Savovic really has the opportunity to become the most improved. And again, I'm not looking at assist and goals necessarily, but I'm looking just at like that consistency and that quality and really owning the middle of the pitch. Yeah. I think we're really going to need our midfielders to, specifically our kind of central holding midfielders, defensive midfielders, to really hold down the middle of the park and stop counterattacks and be a menace in and out of possession. So I'm looking at Savovic as that guy. And then lastly, the name of our final award, I guess you could call it, changes every year. I think last year was the Felipe Martins Vibes Award, Locker Room Vibes Award. Well, we're changing it this year to the Jader Obrian Buyout Candidate Award. Not much of an award, but nonetheless a title that could be earned.
Right.
Who do you think?
It's a designation.
Yeah, exactly. Who do you think of our 20-something person roster is the most likely buyout candidate by season's end, or even going into next offseason?
For sure. I think this name shouldn't be much of a surprise for folks that have been following the roster saga for Austin FC over the past season or so. But looking at Robert Taylor specifically, because I think that name was often tied along with Jader Obrian for, sorry, balloons just popped up on the screen because I did the peace sign. Stay professional here. Anyway, all that to say is I think Jader and Bob Taylor are the two players that were like, oh, they're bound to be bought out because there's just not enough output happening.
For sure.
Obviously, Jader got the first one, so now I'm looking at Robert Taylor. If he, isn't up to snuff with the rest of the squad.
I think that's fair. I don't agree because I want Robert Taylor to do really well this year. So, yeah, I'm
I hear
looking at
that.
him as more of a breakout kind of guy. I think for me, it's not so much that they deserve to be bought out. I think it's just like if they don't finally capitalize on that potential and on their role here. I hate to say it, but I think it's guys like not looking at the supplemental dudes. I think it's guys like Ilie Sanchez, a guy like Jean Kolmanich, where he's been here for 5 years since the beginning and he's earned his time here, and he's gone through injury and whatnot too. But I think a guy like Jean Kolmanich, if he doesn't find his place on the field and just sits on the bench for most of the year and isn't finding ways to contribute, they look at that and say, well, we don't need that position filled right now. We have Riley Thomas that can play backup minutes. If an injury comes up, let's get another striker or let's get another midfielder or something with that spot. And so I think it's one of those kind of long-standing dudes. It could be Ilie too, depending on how long his contract is. If he has a couple of years left and they want to move on early and his contract is hard to move from, I think it's a guy like that. So I hate to say it because that's our boy, but essentially you got to show out or it's you've lost your spot.
Always had to, man.
Yeah. Anyway, I hate to end it on that negative one there, but it is what it is. We buy out people every year, so it's got to be somebody.
That's true.
Let's move on to stoppage. Like I said, we'll talk a little bit more about what the season looks like, as a whole next week, and get a little more in depth. But stoppage. Austin FC has traded an international spot to LA Galaxy for another $240,000. This spot will return to Austin at the start of the summer transfer window in July. This is the second time we've done this exact trade. I think the other was to Miami, or Atlanta. I can't really remember. Doesn't matter. We've done this once already. We're doing it again. Another $240K GAM for 5-month rental. Thoughts?
We're stacking up the GAM nice and slow, just like we wanted. And also, I think if this is our last international spot, I want to say, doesn't that mean that Jorge Elistui doesn't get a chance to join?
Ooh, that's a good question, actually.
First team?
Huh. I wish I knew more.
That was a name that we were looking at as
that's
everyone
a great point.
Was like, okay, let's see if he can earn it this preseason stretch. And so now I think this kind of answers that question for us.
Yeah,
but
that'd be lame if that's the case for his sake. So I don't know. We'll see. It could be that, he's going to play for Austin FC 2 and then halfway through the year when we get one of these spots back, he gets his chance.
For sure.
During Open Cup and Leagues Cup or whatever. But yeah, it's a good point. Interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah.
Austin FC announced Verde Week leading up to the season opener with player appearances, live music, and the Verde Fest, closing it out the night before Friday, the day before the kickoff. I think this is fun. What are your thoughts?
I absolutely think this is fun, man. This is something, correct me if I'm wrong, this is the first time that we're doing a Verde Week?
Yeah. This is the first,
I love it, and I can't wait till I'm 50 years old. I can't wait till I'm 80 years old, and I'm just hearing that it's Verde Week because, it's going to feel good just like it hits on South by Southwest or ACL, and I know a lot of folks cringe when they hear that, but it's like those are fun times in our city. Yeah. Free week at the beginning of every year and stuff like that. It's just like it'll be good.
Another way to tap into the community and engage folks. I think they're doing one event at the Domain, one at the Yeti flagship shop on South Congress, and then obviously Radio East for Verde Fest. So a good, kind of smattering across all the cool parts of town, that people like to go to, and really just continue to plug the club into the city and get the city behind the club. So yeah, I think this is great. Continue to build and stuff like this. Austin continue to build stuff like this is good for the club long term. So good on them for doing that. Inter Miami topped the most valued MLS teams list at a valuation of $1.45 billion. They're just ahead clubs like LAFC, LA Galaxy, Atlanta United, and NYCFC, who are all also valued over $1 billion. Those are the 5 MLS clubs over $1 billion. Thoughts on this?
Sorry, I don't know if you heard it, but I said, who cares? No. I think if I have to put on my, Forbes glasses on, this objectively means that this is good for Austin FC because, we're a part of that closed system there. And so I think the valuations of other MLS clubs reaching that height bodes well for, our market here in Central Texas. But Bro,
Yeah.
I end with who cares?
Yeah, I know. I thought it was interesting a comparison. Inter Miami being at 1.5 billion essentially.
Yeah,
That puts them something like 116th or 126th out of 156 professional men's sports teams here in the U.S. in terms of valuation, proving that other than some NHL teams and a bunch of MLS teams, there's not we're not MLS is behind, right? You
of
have the
course.
Cowboys and the Yankees and the Lakers all being like 11, $12 billion in value.
Sure.
And we're sitting down here, in our just scratching a billion, but
Right. With
time.
that year, with the years and years and years of history, I'm sure at some point
Exactly.
we'll
Yeah.
get
By
there.
year 50, Inter Miami will probably be worth 10 billion after
Yeah.
Messi's gone. Um, Keeping in the theme of MLS, San Diego FC smashes Liga MX Giants Pumas 4-2 on aggregate in CCC play. I believe this was the first MLS club action of the year, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So
An official tournament play for 26. Yeah.
Yep. Thoughts?
It was interesting, bro. It was interesting because here's a squad that second year in, is not playing no little Haitian squad.
Good stop.
I'm just saying, bro. They're kind of the real deal. They went down a goal at half, and then what did they put 3 on or something like that?
Something like that. Yeah.
Second half. Oh, on the road in Mexico, bro. That's crazy, man. But no, honestly, shout out San Diego, bro. Your shadow club.
Hell yeah, dude.
They're advancing, moving on. Good on them.
Yeah, good on them. I just want to say Austin paved the way for clubs like San Diego that followed them to learn what not to do and what to do in terms of building a club. And
Yes.
and I know, I think Austin fans can feel good.
We did our service, bro. We did
our service, right? So shout out to us.
Yes.
And then jumping across the pond, Chelsea women's relieve head of football Paul Green after 13 years on the job. He was equally as responsible for building the club to what it is today, alongside Emma Hayes. And so that was a little bit of a shock, and what some would say is a down year for Chelsea women's.
Yeah.
Some. Second to that, some more fun news. NBA star Giannis Antetokounmpo joins the Chelsea women's ownership group. We'll talk more about that in a second. What are your thoughts on this news?
Yeah, man. I think it's interesting to see these moves, especially on the women's side of Chelsea Football Club, because you look at, I don't know, I think the model that's been laid for so long at Cobham, and it's just like, sorry, not Cobham, but just in general at the club.
Yes.
Where they didn't really have to do a whole lot to stay in that position of kind of that primary club for women's football. But now we're seeing a lot of other women's clubs kind of, putting their investment in. And so I think they're apparently needed to be a shakeup of sorts. And so I think this
it
is
seems
kind of
it's a new era, right?
Yeah.
Like this is the transition between, into a new era for the women's league, WSL, and obviously NWSL too, across the board. And with that, you need new perspective, and Green and obviously Emma Hayes did their thing to lead Chelsea women's to where they are today. But now you need kind of new thought, next to Sonia and the leadership now. And so tough to see, but I'm sure Paul Green will end up somewhere he wants to be, or retire happily, whatever. On the Giannis joining the ownership group thing, we were joking about this when it happened, because the same day he announced that he is a part of the ownership for Kalshi, the trading betting app, whatever. I actually don't know what it's called, but the app where you can bet on anything against other people and make money.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. And he was he was on the trade block in the NBA, and so leading up to that point of the trade deadline ending, there was millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars being traded to see if Giannis would be traded or not. And then he wasn't traded, although it's like the cycle was all about like Giannis is moving to San Antonio or moving to New York or whatever. And then he doesn't move. And then the next day he's like, sup, I'm with Kalshi now. I got that bag for making them all this money. And then, so we're like, what the fuck? That's gotta be illegal. And then 6 hours later, he's like, also, I'm with Chelsea Women's. And we're like, that's my guy, dude.
Yeah.
Giannis is the man.
Yeah. Been a blue, bro. It's cool.
Always have been. So this is just a funny change up of like, that's got to be illegal. Lojo was
Right.
like tagging, was it Pablo Torres or whatever his name is, the journalist, sports journalist that
Yeah.
helped
Yeah.
uncover the Kawhi Leonard tree thing, with all that crazy charity shit.
Yeah.
He's like, yo, investigate. This is crazy. And then we're
Right.
like, wait, never mind. Chelsea, we out
Yeah.
here, So anyway,
We're
that shit,
never beating the allegations, bro. I'll just
no,
leave it at
not at all.
that.
It just adds to them like shit. All right. We appreciate y'all kicking with us on this week's episode of the Verdependent podcast. I'm Logan Bartlett. Catch me online at LobarVHLM.
And I'm Paul Fletes. You can catch me online at Paul
Paul
Andrew C.
That's a government name.
And that's a government name, man.
I got you, dude. Remember your own name. Keep the chatter going online by following at the Verdependent on socials. And if you can, considering leaving a review, liking, and subscribing wherever you get your podcast. As always, that's an episode piece. I fast forwarded that shit. Paul, why are you screaming at me?
Oh my God.